Alright, so I'm just going to make a real quick video about my newest cold steel knife purchase. I ordered the Voyager XL Tonto, and it's a very amazing knife. There are a lot of things I really like about this knife. It has the triad lock, which is just, it's a great lock. Everybody knows that. It's very comfortable in the hand, very ergonomic. Everybody knows that too. Good grip, well made, well balanced piece of knife here. A couple things that I just kind of wanted to go over. If you're looking to buy one of these, a couple things to consider. I watched YouTube videos on this knife before I bought it, and everybody said that the pocket clip tears up your pockets. And I thought, well, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's a pocket knife. What the heck? But it's because of this checkering and the tightness of this pocket clip, what ends up happening is it squeezes the fabric so tight against that checkering that it does indeed shred your pockets. Now, because I like this knife so much, I'm going to take the pocket clip off and probably just sand down the grip that's behind here, behind the clip, to make it slick, so when you go to pull it out of your pocket, it's not ripping this texture against the fabric. It'll just slide out of here, if that makes sense. The other thing that I would love to see on this knife is the Demco thumb tab right here. I've been carrying this knife as my EDC for only a couple days now, so I don't want to sound like, here I am gonna improve on this knife. No, I mean, it's a perfect knife. It really is. But I love the wave feature. I wish that this knife had the wave feature. This knife I ordered to be a work knife. Anything that I gotta cut at work, this is gonna cut. If it chips it, scratches it, I don't care. This is just a good, thick, tough, well-made pocket knife for a construction worker. There's nothing that I'm not going to cut with this. Now, I haven't damaged it yet, but I also haven't been, chopping, cinder block walls or anything crazy. I try to be responsible with my knives anyway. But it's just an incredible knife. It needs the thumb plate for sure. It needs to be smooth from this bolt, or I'm sorry, this screw to this screw. It needs to be smooth so that it doesn't rip your pockets all crazy. I mean, nobody wants to do that. I'm going to fix that myself. But just as an all-around, go to town, at work, carry it, abuse it, use it, abuse it. And, I don't know if you can tell by my hands, but, I have a rough job. I beat these hands within an inch of their life. And this knife, they finally met their match. I've got a knife that I feel like is tough enough to keep up with me. And that's saying something. I have a very, very rough job. I'm a brick mason, stone mason, block, it's a hard job, very physical. My tools take abuse like you would not believe. That's why I carry cold steel. I trust it. I know that I can trust it. There's no question about that. I can trust this knife not to close on my finger and hurt me. That is beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind. I know that I can trust this knife. And I absolutely love that. So if you're looking for just a good, strong, everyday carry knife, I would highly recommend this. It's the only two downfalls I can find. I'd rather have a thumb plate here, and that crazy aggressive texture. I mean, it's one thing to keep it from falling out of your pocket. It's another thing when I can't get it out of my pocket because I'm yanking and pulling and jerking and trying to get it out, and then I rip my pants. I mean, that is a design issue that I think, I hate to say it, but I think it just comes down to laziness. This pocket clip is so tight, coupled with this aggressive texture, you can't get it out of your pocket. I'm a strong man, and I have a hard time ripping this sucker out of my pocket. Now, another knife I'm going to show you that cannot be improved upon because it's already perfect is my Espada. This G10 is grippy, but not insane. Absolutely just a perfect knife. And I know you're thinking, well, if you have an XL Espada, why did you buy a Voyager for work? Well, a couple things. This Espada is a self-defense tool. That's all it's for. I have sharpened this thing to such a razor's edge that you could shave a frog with it. Now, when you sharpen a knife to that extent, you can't be cutting stuff at work and hacking into 2x4s and chopping at straps because you're going to chip that blade. This knife serves one purpose only: to keep me safe. And that it does extraordinarily well. I've had this for a couple months, and when I first looked at this knife, I thought, all the videos these guys talk about carrying it in their waistband, and I thought, man, that's crazy. That thing's a freaking monster. You carry it in your waistband, that's got to just be terribly uncomfortable. Believe it or not, now I'm wearing it in my waistband. I think everybody should have one of these. But like I said, it's perfect. It's got the Demco thumb plate. Thank you, Mr. Demco. That is an absolutely, it's just perfect. This knife is perfect. This handle that he designed is amazing. Which, anyway, I've talked enough about this. I'm going to do a full throwdown on this knife at a later date. Absolutely an incredible knife. Between Lynn's blade and Andrew's handle, this is the best knife money can buy. Period. I know. Everybody's going to disagree with that. I don't care. That's my opinion. This knife is perfect. This is a perfect knife. Its little brother here is a perfect work knife. Now, the reason that I got the Tonto instead of the clip point, because the clip point you can do more with. That's just a fact. The shape of a clip point you can do more with. Everybody that's a knife guy knows that. But here's the reason I bought the Tanto. The full thickness of that blade runs to within probably ½ inch of the end of the blade. The Tonto tip is the strongest tip that a knife can have. I've known that since I was about 12 years old. We can argue about it and we can bicker about it, but I know that that is true. So I wanted a knife that even if I end up chipping that little fine tip off, right behind there, it's strong as the full thickness. So just really good work knife. I would like this knife with this aggressive texturing to have a slick spot right under the clip, just so I can slide it up out of my pocket. Because if you're carrying this for self-defense and somebody jumps out of a dark alley and they're like, hey, I'm going to rob you, and you think, well, I better grab my knife, and you're sitting there tugging and tugging and tugging and tugging and tugging, and you can't, and then you finally get this thing out of your pocket. Well, by then, I mean, you know, you just took 20, 30 seconds yanking against this, you know, texture. And by then, I mean, I could have put a ball bat to your head. I mean, that's just a fact. So in the manufacturing process, underneath this tab needs to be slick. I shouldn't have to do that aftermarket after I bought it. That's a manufacturing thing. You know, I'm going to fix this one because, I mean, this is my EDC. This knife will stay with me for the next 30 years. Unless or until it falls apart or I fall apart. This is my baby. So once I fix that, I'll do another little quick video on this and show you. But absolutely highly recommend this knife in this blade style for work and or self-defense, or just because it's cool and you want it. You know, I'm not babying this knife. I'm not, you know, washing and shining and scrubbing this knife. This is a work knife. This rides in pockets full of sand and grit and grime and crap. And it gets sand all in there, gets dirty, but you know what? It's built for it. I trust it. I like it. So after I fix that and figure out how to jerry rig a flipper tab on here, I'll do another video on this, but I hope it helps if you're looking at this knife. And that's the thing. The difference between these two knives, the Espada is a $200 knife. The Voyager is a $55 knife. For the average guy, the Voyager, you can afford that. The Espada, and what I notice on the videos on YouTube is guys buy these and then they do a YouTube video on it and they cut a water bottle and they talk about how amazing, how great this knife is, and then they put it in a sock drawer and it never gets used. You know, this is my ride or die. It rides on my hip every day of my life. Doesn't do a lot of cutting because I don't want to mess up the edge. If this knife comes out to do some cutting, it's probably getting impounded afterward, which you know what that means. This knife, on the other hand, is stupid affordable. This should be about a $150 knife. It's $55. That is freaking crazy. I mean, buy this knife. If you don't like Tantos because you're not, you know, familiar with it, get the clip point. This knife in the XL with a clip point, I would put up against probably any everyday carry pocket knife in the universe, as I would this Tanto, because I'm familiar with Tantos. I know how to use them effectively. I know what to do and what not to do with this tip. There are times where you need this secondary point to cut with, and then there's times that you're going to mess it up cutting certain things. I've always carried Tantos. I like their strength and durability, and I highly recommend this knife. First thing you do is pop that pocket clip off and sand that down behind it. I'm going to do that and then post another video on this knife and actually demonstrate before I do it and after I do it the difference that it's going to make getting this out of my pocket. So I hope this helps. And Lynn, I just want to tell you that I appreciate the passion that you put into these products. I mean, I can feel it in my hand. When you build a product with such quality and passion that I can feel it by holding it, I mean, that's a big deal. I'm just a good old boy American that needs a good pocket knife in his hip pocket, and by God, that's what you have done. This is just a good knife for my pocket. Other than it eating the pocket, really good knife. Thank you, Lynn, for what you do and for keeping us safe, well, safer with products like this. I don't have to worry about this thing clamping down and taking off my trigger finger. That lock right there ain't going nowhere. And I'm not going to try to break it because I really like the knife. So I'm not going to demonstrate how much it can take before it breaks. This is my baby. Well, it's my workhorse as well as my baby. So it's going to work like a mule and be cared for properly, not just outright abused. Hope you liked the video. There's more coming. First time doing this, so I know that the cameraman job and all this is not very good on this video. It's just me. I'm just a construction worker that owns several different cold steel knives, and just most of the videos on these knives are 7, 8, 9 years old. So here's a new one, YouTube. Hope you like it. Thanks.